Hey journalists, today I'm going to show you how you can also include some sound effects and some news audio clips and clips from other people's podcasts into your podcast. Okay, so as you can see, I have GarageBand up and running. I have my segments up top here, so all my content's up there. You can see right here in the second track, if you will, I have my intro music. Okay, so I'll just play a couple seconds just so you can hear what it sounds like so far. Alright, and you'll notice that I faded it out as soon as I come in.
Hello, welcome
right,
to Nightlife, a podcast
playing
devoted to
underneath
covering
there.
academic issues and topics.
Okay. So say like now I want to add some other sound effects, or if I want, like if I'm doing a sports podcast, I want to add in some sounds from the gym, or if it's a business podcast, I want to add in some sounds from, the stock market or what have you. I'm going to show you a couple resources that I put on Schoology of some sound effects search engines that you can use to download sounds, and then how to import them and place them in your podcast, okay? So in Schoology, in our podcast folder, okay, our news podcast folder, you'll see I've created a new folder called Podcast Sound Effect Resources, okay? And I've given you kind of 5 sites that you can use. Find Sound, BB Sound Effects, and the Thessalian Studios. Those 3 are the ones you're going to be able to find sound effects for. Okay, so if you need arcade sounds, nature sounds, people sounds, daily life sounds, those are going to be the search engines you can use. Listen Notes is a really cool website in which you can grab snippets or like MP3s of other people's podcasts and inject them into your podcast as well. And last but not least, Internet Archives is really cool because that's where you can find a lot of audio clips from news stations and what have you that you can put in there. So let's look real quickly at the sound effects ones. All right, so all of them are going to be the same in terms of how you're going to open them up. All right, so once you click on the link, you have to open all of them in Safari. So you have to exit out. I'm just going to adjust my camera there. You have to exit out of the Schoology window and make sure that it's open in Safari. So you click that arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, hit open in Safari. Now, Find Sounds is really cool because it can group them into categories. You can search like TV, sports sounds, sounds of nature, game sounds, whatever. Or you can use the search bar. So right now, I'm just going to search, let's use game sounds. How about that? All right, and you see I have a bunch of other things I can use. So like it gives me some characters that I can use, probably some that you're used to, like Zelda or Bowser, all right? So it gives you some various things that I could use there. All these different types of sounds I could use. But for right now, let's just do like Pac-Man. Say I'm doing a video game one, all right? So I can listen to a bunch of sounds simply by clicking on the play button, okay? So obviously, very quick. Okay, but that's obviously a Pac-Man sound, and it'll actually tell you how long each one lasts. So that one was like 0.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds. So let's see what this one sounds like. Okay, so say like I wanted that one in my podcast. So it's super easy. All I do is I hold down my finger, okay, until this little pop-up window comes up. And I would just simply hit this download linked file. And as soon as I hit that, you'll see that it's going to pop up into this little download folder up top there. Ready? Send it right up there. And now I can see that it downloaded that Pac-Man sound. Okay? So how do I pull it up in GarageBand? Simple. I just go back to GarageBand. And just like I used music, where I found my music, and I found this little loops section. Okay. I'll hit that, but I would select files up here, okay, and then I would hit browse items from files. Okay. Then I would go back from the iCloud drive and I would simply hit downloads, and all the sounds that I hit downloaded from are up there. And you can see there's the Pac-Man sound. So I can just simply click it and drag it out. Or sorry, I hit it first so that it downloads, and then it'll pop up in this menu, and then I can simply drag it out and say I wanted it to come between these two segments. Great. I could put it right there, and we can see what that will sound like.
Motivated to do something their adult instructors are not.
School is the context in which they should be.
Great, so I could put it right there. I could put it beneath here, right? If I wanted it underneath or playing at the same time as someone, okay? So I have all those options. And I just gotta make sure they're all touching. Good. Okay, so let me show you the same thing quickly with another search engine site that you could use for sound effects, which is just BBC Sound Effects. Okay, again, I have to open it up in Safari. Okay, and the nice thing is you have a search bar here, but they also have a lot of great categories here. Okay, so I can look at, like aircraft, animals, applause. So say, let's for fun, say I'm doing like something on the military. Okay, great. So I can grab some military sounds, and it'll tell you, like, you can get a World War II sounding item. And like a plane. I noticed this one's pretty long, it's about 5 minutes. Okay, so I probably won't need the whole thing. Alright, but all I would do to download that is hit this little download button. I would want the MP3 version of it. And it'll just simply say, do you want to download? Okay, it'll send it back up to this little arrow. You can see it's still downloading. Oops, sorry. It just sent it right up to this little arrow, and I can see that it downloaded that World War plane. Okay, and it's the exact same thing. Once I save it, I can just draw it up from this little looped file. I go back into Browse Items, I go back into iCloud, and look, now my downloads, I have 9 items there, because now I have that World War II plane sound. Great. I click on it, I wait for it to download. There's that World War II plane sound, okay? And I can simply just drag it out. Now notice the World War II sound, okay? That's a 5-minute sound effect. So I probably don't need that much of it. So I can simply just shrink it down to the amount that I need. Probably like 30 seconds or whatever it may be. Okay, but I probably don't need 5 minutes of the World War II plane sound in the background. So you can cut it down. Okay, you can put it underneath, you can put it above, right? So I'm just putting it right after, just so you can see how it works, but you can fade it in wherever you want.
I ever have to kind of align.
Right? So you can see you get a lot of cool sound effects. And obviously if you don't want it, you can obviously loop it, all these kind of great options. Okay. Last resource I'll show you for the sound effects is the Fesliyan. Okay, so again, the last one with just sound effects is the Fesliyan Studios one. Okay, again, you got to open it up in Safari. And this is cool because it gives you a bunch of music that you can actually use as well. You got commercial sounding music, funny, suspenseful, action, sad, thrilling, right, EDM. Like, it's really nice how they get all these different types of music that you could use. Okay. And it's all just royalty free. So say like I wanted like breaking news intro. News countdown. Like this sounds pretty intense. Right, so if you're doing more of a news podcast, this sounds pretty good. And notice how they give you alternate versions that you can use. You can download the 15-second version, the 30-second, the 60-second. So it's kind of nice. There's faster versions. So like it saves you time on having to edit. Okay? So you could download this whole 2-minute segment if you wanted to by hitting that green arrow. But really, if it's introduction stuff, like 15, 30 seconds is probably good enough. Okay, so you just hit the green arrow. It'll ask you, if you want to download. And again, okay, download started, great. And we're not making money on this, so we don't have to worry about this. And this was called News Countdown. 15-second news countdown there, okay, great. So say I didn't want to start with music in the background. Like say I didn't want to do that anymore. Okay, so say I wanted to start with like that news podcast or that breaking news sound. Okay, well then I still just go into this little loop here. Go back into browse items. Okay, go into downloaded items. Okay, 15-second breaking news. Hit it. Wait for it to download. Great. And I can drag it and I could start my podcast. Oops. Accidentally deleted that, so let me just bring it back up. Okay, so I would hold my finger down, drag it. And so now I could start. I gotta move everything down a little bit. That's okay. Great, so now I can start with that breaking news.
Topics at McQuaid Jesuit High School.
Okay. I think I accidentally overrode one of my sections there when I put it in, so let me just get the back button there. Yeah, so I accidentally overrode it, so what I might want to do is I'd probably just put it down there. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I don't overwrite it this time. Let's do it that way. Put a flush. Okay, so now let's try it.
Hello, welcome to Nightlife, a podcast devoted to covering academic issues.
Okay, so those are the 3 sound effects websites that you could use. Okay, again, that's Find Sound, that is BBC Sound Effects, and that is Fesline Studios. In another short video, I'll show you how you can use other people's podcasts in the news clips from the Internet Archive's search engines.